Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be reading again. Like I said, I'm going to try to read every day for you guys. It's also good for me. Okay, I'm going to do some mouth sounds. I have to do this so I don't breathe in your ear. Okay. Hopefully that wasn't loud. I'm soft whispering reading because this mic, it's okay, but it's not the best in picking up my whisper. I have a very soft voice to begin with. This is the Elf Cookies and Dreams. Oop. Okay, a little bit spilled out. We're gonna go ahead and go on to the reading. Now we'll do a recap, but we just got started. I'm gonna do a mini recap. By the way, I only read like 2 pages before I knocked out because I was tired. So we just now got introduced to her mom. Okay. We're gonna start on page 7. My mother walked into the room bearing a huge basket. Also, I'm gonna be tapping on the bookmark again. My mother walked into the room bearing a huge basket of folded laundry. Are these yours? She bandaged a pair of socks. Trina's, I think. I thought so. Odd color. I think they must have gotten with Dad's dirty. Oh. I think they must have gotten with Daddy's plum pajamas. You're back early. Are you going somewhere? No, I filled a glass of tap water and drank it. Is Patrick coming around later? He rang here earlier. Do you have your mobile phone off? Mm-hmm. He said he's after booking your holiday. Your father says he saw something in the television about it. Where is your... I'm struggling. Where is it you liked? I Pozos. What? Calipaws? Skillethos? That's the one. You want to check on the hotel very carefully. Do it on the internet. He and Daddy watched something on the news at lunchtime. Apparently, they said building sites half those budget deals. You couldn't know if you got there. Daddy, would you like a cup of tea? Did Lou not offer you one? She put the kettle on. then glanced up at me. It's possible she finally noticed I wasn't saying anything. Are you all right, love? You look awfully pale. She reached out a hand and felt my forehead as if I was much younger than 26. Gonna get a drink of water. I don't think we're going on holiday. My mother's hand stilled. Her gaze, that X-ray thing that his head melt. Her gaze, that X-ray thing that it has. I'm so sorry, guys. Her gaze, that X-ray thing that it had held since I was a kid. Are you and Pat having some problems? Mom, I'm not trying to interfere. It's just you've been together an awful long time. It's only natural for things to get a bit sticky every now and then. I mean, me and your father, I lost my job. Hold on. I don't know how to do the dad voice. I lost my job. Okay. I lost my job. My voice cut into silence. The words hung there, searing themselves on the little room long after the sound had died away. You what? Frank is shutting down the cabinet. Hold on. I swear I'm taking this seriously. It's just so funny. Frank is shutting down the cafe from tomorrow. Trying to do the voices. I love it when people do the voices. I want to do it. I held out a hand with a slightly damp envelope. I'd gripped the shock from the... Oh, did I miss something? Okay. From the entire journey home, all 180 steps from the bus stop. He's given me 3 months' money. My 3 months' money. The day had started like any other day. Everyone I knew hated Monday mornings, but I never minded them. I liked arriving early at the buttered bun, firing up the huge tea urn in the corner, burning in the grates of milk and bread from the backyard, and chatting to Frank as we prepared open. I like the fuggy, bacon-scented warmth of the cafe. Fugy? I don't know how to pronounce that. Maybe I'm stupid. The little bruises of cool air as the door opened and closed, the low murmur of conversation, and when quiet, Frank's radio singing timidly to itself in the corner. It wasn't a fashionable place. The walls were covered in scents from the castle up the hill. The tables were sported. Formosa. The tables still sported Formosa tops, and the menu hadn't altered since I started, apart from the addition of chocolate brownies on the iced bun tray. But most of all, I liked the customers. I liked Kev and Angelo, the plumbers who came in the mornings and teased Frank about his meat might come from. I like the dandelion lady, named for her shock of white hair, who ate one egg and chips from Monday to Thursday and sat reading complimentary newspapers and drinking her way through 2 cups of coffee. I always made an effort to chat with her. I suspected that I suspected it might be the only conversation this old lady got all day. I like tourists who stop by to walk up and down from the castle, and the shrieking school children who stop by after school, the regulars from the offices across the road, and Ninja and Charlie, the hairdressers who knew the calorie count of every single item that the buttered bun had to offer. Even the annoying customers like the red-haired woman who ran the toy shop and disputed her change at least once a week didn't trouble me. I watched the relationship begin across those tables, and children transferred between ex-spouses, the guilty relief of those parents who couldn't face cooking, and the secret pleasure of pensioners at a fried breakfast. All human life came through and most of them shared a few words with me, tracing jokes or comments over the mugs of steaming tea. My voice might be again. And just so you know, I am reading these once a day. I think it might benefit me if I read once a day. And it might put you to sleep. Dad always said he never knew what was going to come out of my mouth next, but in the cafe it didn't matter. Frank liked me. He was quiet by nature, and having me there kept the place lively. It was a bit like being barmaid. It was a bit like being a barmaid, but without the hassle of drinks. And then in the afternoon, after lunchtime, rush ended, and the place was briefly empty. Frank, wiping his hands on the apron, had come out of behind the hot plate, had turned into the little closed sign at the face of the street. He was twisting a tea towel between his 2 hands and looked more uncomfortable than I had ever seen him. I wondered briefly whether someone had complained about me, and then he motioned me to sit down. "Sorry, Louisa," he said after he told me that I'm going back to Australia. My dad's not doing too good, and it looks like the castle is definitely going to start doing its own refreshments. These flies are running crazy. I hope they're not bothering you when you're sleeping. The writing's on the wall. I think I sat there with my mouth actually hanging open. And then Frank handed me an envelope and answered my next question before it left my lips. "I know we never had, formal contact or anything, but I wanted to look after you. There's 3 months of money right there. Close tomorrow." 3 months? Dad exploded as my mother thrust a cup of sweet tea into my hands. 1 second. Okay, calm down. Now I'm gonna do cup sounds. Well, that's this is what the mother's saying. Well, that's big of him. She's worried like a ruddy Trojan in a place that lasted like 6 years. Bernard. Oh, that's the dad, I think. Mom shot a warning look, nodding toward Thomas. My parents minded them after every school day until Trina finished work. What the hell is she supposed to do now? He could have given her more than a bloody day notice. Well, she's just gonna have to get another job. There's no bloody jobs, Josie. You know just as well as I do, we're in the middle of a bloody recession. Mom shut her eyes for a moment, as if she was composing herself before she spoke. She's a bright girl. She'll find herself something. She's got a solid employment record. Hasn't she? Frank gave her a good reference. Oh, fecking marvelous. Hold on. Oh, fecking marvelous. Louisa Clark is very good at buttering toast and tab handing with an old teapot. Thanks for the vote of confidence, Dad. I'm just saying. I knew the reason for my dad's anxiety. They replied on my wages. Trina earned next to nothing at the flower shop. My mom couldn't work as she had to look after Granddad, and Granddad's pension amounted to almost nothing. Dad lived in constant state of anxiety about his job, the furniture factory. His boss has been muttering about possible redundancies for months. There's little murmurings at home with the depths of jungling credit cards. Dad had his car written off by an uninsured driver 2 years previously, and somehow this had enough for the whole turning at a face. That was my parents' finances to finally collapse. My modest wages had been a little bedrock for the housekeeping money, enough to keep the family through week to week. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. She can head down to the job center tomorrow. Let's see what she can offer. She's got enough to get by for now. They spoke as if I weren't there. And she's smart. You're smart enough, aren't you, love? Perhaps she could do a typing course, go into an office work. I sat there as my parents discussed what my job's limited qualifications might entitle me to. Factory work, machinist, roll butterer. For the first time that afternoon, I wanted to cry. Thomas watched me with big round eyes and silently handed me a half-soggy biscuit. Thanks, Tomo. Emma silently and ate it. Can I get a drink of water? He was down at the athletics club, as known as he would be, Mondays to Thursdays, regulated station timetable. Patrick was there in the gym, running circles around the floor-lit track. "Run with me," he puffed to get closer. His breath came into pale clouds. "I've got 4 laps to go." I hesitated just a moment and then began to run alongside him. It was the only way I was going to get any kind of conversation out of him. I was wearing my pink trainers with the turquoise laces and the only shoes I could possibly run in. I had spent the day at home trying to be useful. I'm guessing it was an hour before I started to get under my mother's feet. Mom and Granddad had their routines, and having me there interrupted them. Dad was asleep, as he was on nights this month, and not to be disturbed, I tidied my room, then sat and watched television, with the sound down, and when I remembered periodically why I was home in the middle of the day, I felt an actual breath of pain in my chest. "I was expecting you." I got fed up at home. I thought maybe we could do something. He looked sideways at me. There's a final film of sweat in his face. "The sooner you get another job, babe, the better." It's all 24 hours since I lost the last one. Am I allowed to just be a bit miserable and floppy? Just for today? But you gotta look at the positive side, I couldn't stay at that place forever. You want to move upward and onward. Patrick had been named Stortford Young Entrepreneur for Year of the Year 2 years previously, and had not quite recovered from the honor. He had since acquired a business partner, Ginger Pete, offering personnel training the clients 40-mile area and at limited vans on the credit. Being made redundant can change people's lives, Lou. He looked and glanced at his watch, checking his lap time. "What do you want to do?" "You could retain. I'm sure they grant people like you, people like me, people looking for opportunity." "What do you want it to be?" "You could be a beautician. You're pretty enough." He nudged me as we ran, as if I could be grateful for the compliment. My beauty routine: soap, water, old paper bag." Patrick was beginning to look exasperated. I was starting to lag behind. I hate running. I hated him for not slowing down. "Look, shop assistant, secretary, estate agent, I don't know. There must be something you want to do." But there wasn't. I liked it at the cafe. I liked knowing everything there was to know about people at the Buttered Bun, and hearing about the lives of the people who came through it. I had felt comfortable there. "You can't mope around, babe. Gotta get over it. All the best entrepreneurs fight their way back from rock bottom. Jeffrey Archer did it. So did Richard Branson." He tapped my arm, trying to get me to keep up. I doubted if Jeffrey Archer ever got made redundant from toasting tea cakes. I was out of breath and wearing the wrong bra. I slowed down and dropped my hands onto my knees. He turned, running backwards, his voice carrying on the still, cold air. "I'm just saying, sleep on it. Put on a smart suit." He held down the job center. "Or I'll train you to work with me. if you like. You know there's money in it. And don't worry about the holiday. I'll pay. I smiled at him. He blew a kiss, and his voice echoed into the empty stadium. You know you can pay me when you're back on your feet. So we are on page 12. The end of the chapter is page 16. Maybe I can make it a longer video. Depends. Let me see how long chapter 2 is. It's all the way up to 28. I think we're going to read 2 chapters. I made my first claim for job seekers allowance. I attended a 45-minute interview and a group interview where I sat with a group of 20 mismatched men and women, half of whom wore the same tightly stunned expression I suspected I did, and the other half the blank, uninterested faces of the people who had been here too many times before. I wore what my dad deemed my civilian clothes. As a result of these efforts, I endured a brief stint feeling on a night shift chicken possessing factory. It gave me nightmares for weeks. In 2 days at a training session, a home energy advertiser. I realized pretty quickly I was essentially being introduced to befuddle old people into switching energy suppliers, and I told Sid, my personal advisor, that I couldn't do it. He insisted that I continue, so I listed some practices that they asked me to employ. At which point he went a bit quiet and suggested it was always we, even though it was pretty obvious that one of us had a job. Try something else. I did 2 weeks fast food chain. The hours were okay. I could cope with the fact that the uniform made my hair static. But I found it impossible to stick with appropriate responses script with its, "How can I help you today?" and "Would you like a large fries with that?" I was let go after one of the donut girls caught me debating with the varying merits of the free toys with the 4-year-old. What can I say? She was a smart 4-year-old. I also thought the Sleeping Beauties were savvy. Now that I sat at my 4th interview, as Sid scanned through the touch screen for further employment opportunities. Even Sid, who wore the grimly cheerful demeanor of someone who had shornered the most unlikely candidates for the job. I was starting to sound a little weary. Have you ever considered joining the entertainment industry? What about a mime artist, opera singer? Actually, no, but there's an opening for a pole dancer, several in fact. I raised an eyebrow. Please tell me you're kidding. It's 30 hours a week on self-employed basis. I believe the tips are good. You said you were good with people, and you seem to like theoretical clothing. He glanced at my tights, which were green and glittery, and had thought that it would cheer me up. Thomas had hummed the whole theme tune of The Little Mermaid for almost the whole breakfast. Side tapped onto his keyboard. How about that adult chat line, supervisor? I stared at him. He shrugged. You said you like talking to people. No, and no Simitude bar and no to the Simitude bar staff or Mansui or webcam operator. Come on, Sid. There has to be something I can do that would actually get that actually wouldn't give my dad a heart attack. I think I'm gonna stop at the end of chapter 1. Sorry. This appeared to stump him. There's not much left outside of flexible hour retail opportunities. Night shelf stacking? I had to be here enough times to know I speak their language. There's a waiting list. Parents tend to go for it because it suits the school hours, he said apologetically. He studied the screen again. So we're really left with care assistant. Wiping old people's bottoms. I'm afraid that, Louisa, you're not qualified for much else. If you want to retain, I'd be happy to point you to the right direction. There are plenty of courses at an adult education center, but we've been through this, said. If I do this, I'll lose my job, secret money, right? You're not available to work, yes. We sat there in silence. The moment I gazed the doors where 2 burly security men stood. I wondered if they got this job through the job center. I'm not good with old people, said. My granddad lives at home since he had his stroke, and I can't cope with him. Ah, so you're saying you have experience in caregiving? Not really. My mom does everything for him. Would your mom like a job? Funny. I'm not being funny. And leave me after looking at my granddad? No thanks from him. As well as me, by the way, I haven't got anything from any cafes. I don't think we're there enough. I don't think we're there enough to let cafes guarantee you employment. Louisa, we can try Kentucky Fried Chicken. We might as well get on better there. Because I'd get so much from offering bargain bucket than chicken McNuggets. I don't think so. Well, then perhaps we have to look further afield.